Welcome to Soundscape Crusaders,
a music discovery podcast where we pair music with meaning.
Join co-hosts
Nate
and Levi on this journey.
As we dive deep and examine one song an episode,
Discuss what we love about it,
and then pair it with something that emotionally
and tonally
coincides with the song.
Desole by Gorrillaz.
Nate, have you been doing anything cool?
No, I got a really stressful work week this week. We have a TV episode due on Saturday, so I'm kind of like hunkered down for that. What about y'all?
Nothing too crazy. I basically spent the weekend watching a bunch of Kurosawa movies, and that was literally just it. So I had a good time. It was fun. So,
What about you, Dylan? What's going on?
What did I do? I was a degenerate for the last week and a half in between jobs. So I did nothing. I would wake up at like 8 in the morning, do my morning routine, eat breakfast, go right back to sleep for 2 hours, wake up, and then continue on with my day.
Dude, I love it.
It was
that's
very
the best way to live.
Yeah. I wish we all could live that way.
Right.
Oh God.
Dylan, I hate to interrupt you, but is that the Lego NES behind you that I see?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is so cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's freaking sick.
So, I guess to kind of get this rolling, Levi. So I've known Dylan for, like we were talking about earlier, like I've known him for a long time. He's been a really, really good friend of mine since junior year of high school. Because we had theater tech together.
Nice.
And
theater tech.
Yeah. He went to Shepton, because, Plano's weird, where they separate 9, 10, and 11 and 12. 11 and 12 is a school, and 9 and 10 is a school. It's weird. But
Right.
we went to opposite high schools, and, so we met in theater.
So the theater, even though it was separate schools, it was the same program?
Sort of. So we converged at the same program.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I went to Shepton, he went to Jasper, and then when we both ended up at Plano West, we were in the same theater program. So
Okay,
we
gotcha.
did separate theater, and then it converged, like Nate said.
Right. Because there was a really, I guess, I don't know if it was a cool program, but there was this thing called productions where you could it was like honors theater. So the class was 7th period, which was the last period of the day. So you could literally just go right into not practice. Is it practice?
Rehearsal.
I couldn't think of
Yeah.
the word. So literally just bled right into it. But yeah,
Gotcha.
that's how.
So-
What's up?
No, I was just going to ask Dylan what his music background is. Like, do you play instruments? Do you just listen? Basically the difference, Nate is a huge music super fan, and
Yeah.
he used to play, versus me, I don't know shit. So,
I mean, let's see if I can give a long history of nothing. So I played violin in middle school, played piano in elementary school, hated violin so much because it was it did not mesh with my ADD whatsoever. So hated that, but I actually didn't really get into listening to music until maybe college. I kind of was, by senior year of high school, I was kind of just that guy that was I only listen to classics, and dear God, I hate myself for being in that phase, but got through that phase, thank God. Nate really introduced me to a lot of good music. Let's see.
you and me both.
What else? Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I was kind of like that was influential with my music tastes since I was a kid was probably Dream Theater. And Nate, you'll laugh every time because I always bring it up. I have to bring it up whenever music
It's
comes
fine.
up.
It's fine. It's
So
totally fine.
my cousin is the lead guitarist in Dream Theater, so I would go to his shows when I was like 5 years old. Probably get hearing loss as well.
Probably
but
those shows are loud.
they were extremely loud. I probably do have hearing loss, but it definitely influenced my taste in music, or opened me up into like a more diverse taste of music.
So what is Dream Theater?
You
Is it like a
progressive metal? So it's like more focused on the ability of the artist rather than like conventional music theory patterns and stuff.
These dudes are
right,
insanely talented. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that was perfect. These
okay? So they've been around a while, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, since like the 80s.
Wow.
Yeah.
they're like a mainstream prog musician's favorite like progressive metal band. You know?
Yeah.
It's like one of those situations. Their fans love them, and they are super talented. And actually, there's like a really good handful of songs that I really enjoy as well.
Wow, 15 albums.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's gotta like really, what's the word? Really, just kind of illustrate your background. Like that's really gotta give you a lot of perspective.
It definitely it was an experience growing up, kind of going to those shows all the time. One, because I have a distinct memory of a dude pressing his head against a fence when we were going to the tour bus after the show, and he was like, sign my head, John Petrucci." Like legit, like straight faced. This man was serious, and he had a Sharpie, and he was hanging it like out in front of through the bars on the gate. And he was just like screaming, sign his head. Yeah, of course he didn't sign his head, but
He didn't?
no.
Oh.
Like John was like, I don't think I'm gonna do
I mean, from what I remember, he's like a really like that dude. Because we went to a Dream Theater show. Were we freshmen in college, or was it senior year of high school? I can't remember.
It was freshman in college because that was the year that they got the new drummer, Mike Mangini.
Okay.
Because Mark Portnoy was being a butthead. He basically was like, we should break up the band and then come back together in 5 years and like have a reunion tour and make a shit ton of money. And like everyone in the band was like, but we like touring still.
We like making music. That's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know like that was really kind of you would know. You have an insider look into that.
Yeah. Oh, I have another little tidbit of information. This is more recent. So Dream Theater won their first Grammy this past year.
Right.
And the only person that was at the ceremony was my cousin John.
Okay.
And everyone else in the band was like, "Oh, I'm not going to the Grammys. We never win that shit anyways. Like, I'm not going." And so even my cousin was just like, "I'm just gonna go because it's just fun, whatever."
Right. It's a little party. Have a good time.
And he won, and so he was just like, "Oh my god!"
What do I say?
He was the only member of the band at the Grammys. Like,
It's
that must have sucked
so
as the other band members watching.
They're like, oh, like, fuck.
Yeah, the one time I don't go.
Right. He seems like a pretty private dude, though. Could you attest to that? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's very. He keeps everything kind of separate. You know, he keeps work and family separate because, you know.
Super nice dude, though. He was a super nice dude.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Shout out Dream Theater.
Yeah, that's so. What would you describe your music taste as?
All over the Am I allowed to curse?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all do.
All over the fucking place. I go from like electro swing to trip hop to um crap, like classic rock to progressive metal. So I'm all over the
Nice.
place.
I mean, that's good. That's pretty much the whole point of this podcast, is just finding weird and interesting things, and then also talking about,
Yeah.
other stuff like the Beatles. So,
Yeah, we did talk about the Beatles.
so
But you
Yeah.
did not come today with the Dream Theater song, correct?
No, I did not. And if my background doesn't give it away, I think you guys can give it away then.
Right. Yeah. What song did you bring? What song did you bring to the table today?
I brought Desole by the Gorillaz. It's a pretty awesome one. It sticks out to me really strongly, mainly because it came out around when COVID hit really hard, and
Yeah. That was like
um,
2020. Yeah.
it was like March 2020 is when that song dropped, and that was like COVID was just peaking and everyone was freaking out, and it has an emotional response for me whenever I hear it. So it's but it's a very good song, I think. But it actually matches, the song itself matches the time that it came out, in my opinion. If that makes any sense.
No, that totally does. I'm super glad to get you on this show because, like, to me, if I need something for Gorillaz, if I need any Gorillaz information, I go to you.
Yeah.
So I guess before Levi, sorry to like kind of take the reins here.
go for it.
But this is also like kind of in a question that's been like sitting inside me that I've just never asked you outwardly. But like, what is it about the Gorillaz? Like, what drew you to them? Like, I'm so curious. Don't get me wrong. I love the Gorillaz. The Gorillaz are great. But I feel like you have like, you like them way more than me, and I want to like be on that level.
My short answer is I am partially on the spectrum. My long answer is it's weird. It's a weird kind of. Where do I start?
Hate to put you on the spot. Sorry.
Oh no, I love talking about it. So like, my earliest memory of Gorillaz is, and this is going to date me slightly, is in the mornings on like Saturday mornings, I'd wake up early and watch my Saturday morning cartoons, right? And I'd watch it on the family TV before anyone was up. But whenever you turn the TV on, it would always be on whatever channel was on last, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that previous night, I guess someone in my family was watching MTV. And so when I turned the TV on, MTV was on. I'm pretty sure it was MTV. And the Clint Eastwood music video was playing.
Oh, wow.
And it scared the absolute shit out of me. Because it was the dancing zombie gorillas with this one dude singing with, what is it? An 8-ball fracture for both of his eyes, black eyes.
Yeah. Is that where Pazuzu comes? Like, it possesses that? No, maybe that's not that.
No. So he has 8-ball fractures because Murdoch is an asshole and hit him with a car twice. So, and 8-ball fractures are an actual thing. It's like, I guess you hit your eye or head hard enough and then your eyeball fills up with blood.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
But that was my earliest memory is that music video, and seeing that and hearing that famous line that I got sunshine in a bag bit. And so that stuck with me, scared the shit out of me. Didn't really chase after Gorillaz after then. It wasn't until like senior year of college when I don't know what really possessed me to like get really into Gorillaz to the point that it was just like all this shit behind me. But I think it's the art style. I think it's the way that they have their music videos kind of tethered to the real world with like real world elements mixed with, you know, drawn hand animation elements. And it felt so real to watch those music videos, but at the same time, you know, it had that fantasy element. And it's not, it's kind of like the uncanny valley effect, except in a positive way, I guess. You know, it's like it seems real, but it's too real, but it's not creepy. I don't know. That itself kind of had caught my eye since day one. And I think that's why I gravitated back towards it. And then their Humans album came out the same month I graduated college. Like
was that 2015 refresh? Was it
2017? Yeah.
2017, okay.
And yeah, I just went batshit insane and bought, you know, their deluxe album, their deluxe everything. I bought tickets to see their show on tour when they were in Los Angeles. It was since then I've just kind of been hooked to their music.
That's crazy that you say when you mentioned the Clint Eastwood video and you talk about how it scared the shit out of you, and yet you came back years later for that. But I feel like that you're onto something there, because like some of the things that I love most in life is shit that I was terrified of when I was a kid too. So like I feel like there's something psychological in there that like
it's probably like childhood trauma or something. I don't know.
Like a morbid curiosity.
Right, yeah. Nate, do you have anything like that? Like,
oh, I remember watching the original Halloween really young.
Oh my God.
And I revisited it like kind of like in high school. And I was like, this is not, you know, kind of like, oh, this is not as scary as I thought, but also still, you know, still really cool. But I feel like everyone's, you know, watched a horror movie kind of really young, and then they turn back to it when they're older and they're like, I was scared of that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
I wasn't allowed to watch Power Rangers, so
Oh, wow.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
It's got to be the movies that like it was when your parents thought you were asleep and then you sneak back in and just kind of watch from the hallway or something.
Yeah. My dad caught me a couple times too, and then he'd be like, go to bed. What are you doing?
It's good shit. That's how RoboCop is for me. Like I was absolutely traumatized because I was way too young to watch that. And
Very
now it's
violent
like
movie.
I have it's basically
I actually, this is a funny random story, slightly related to getting scared shitless. Because I wasn't able to watch any of those horror movies, I was really obsessed over like cryptids and all that weird shit when I was a kid.
Yeah, like Loch Ness Monster, right? And Bigfoot.
Yeah, Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, the Bermuda Triangle, what is it, Skinwalkers? I don't know.
I like the Mothman. I think that one's really interesting.
But the elementary school library had those books, like, or books about cryptids and stuff, right? So I would check them out, I would read them, and I'd be like, wow, this is really interesting. And then I guess I read it a little too much.
Bought into
I was like, I can't sleep. This book is scaring the shit out of me. Like I like had a meltdown when I was a kid, and then my mom was like, "What? Why are you freaking out so much?" And I was like, "Well, I've been reading this book." And then she looks at it and she's like, "What the hell is my son reading?" And so she's the reason that if your kid is trying to find cryptid books in his elementary school, they're probably banned because of my mother.
Well, your mom came in and was like, nah.
Yeah.
They believe this shit.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So like a big part about this podcast, and we didn't start doing this, but as it evolved, we realized that, one of the things that is missing a lot now is like you never get with your friends too often, and you sit down and you just listen to a song together, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we do now every episode. I haven't heard this song. I've never heard this song. So
I think you'll like it. This one's a good one. I am super happy. I'm just really happy you brought a Gorillaz song.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, I put the YouTube link in the chat. So,
all the statues behind me, on at least these were right here on my left shoulder, whatever. They're in the music video.
Nice.
They're actual like replicas of them from the music video. So
for this one,
from this specific one.
Yep.
Wow.
Nice.
That I did not know. That I knew you had them, but I did not know. Hell yeah, that's cool. Levi, I have the music video pulled up and it's zeroed out.
Okay, so we always start playing at the same time, which is on one, and then we just kind of watch it and we'll talk about it as that's happening or whatever. So
okay,
this part doesn't go in the episode, so you can talk, you can do whatever.
Yeah, this is just more for the experience. So
gotcha.
Okay, so we good?
I'm ready.
Ready?
Yep.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
I'm trying to hold on to you.
All right. That song was fucking awesome.
Isn't it great, dude?
Bro, like you mentioned you get chills. I got chills listening to that. That's good shit. Like that's really, really good. And like the underlying like hopefulness in there, but it's man.
It encapsulates that time in my life perfectly, in my opinion, because it was just like there was some kind of like melancholy to it, but hopefulness as well. But there's like in the background, there's that bleakness, the monsters in the background. You didn't know what the hell was going on. Kind of that's literally what it felt like in that time.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And they're just on the boat. They're cruising. They look like they have a good time. And like, are they unaware? Are they just ignoring it? Like, what's going on? But man, that's going on my playlist.
So before we get into the song, Dylan, for those, if you may, or I'm gonna ask if you want to, you don't have to. Could you give us a brief, not synopsis, but like a brief rundown of the Gorillaz for those that have never heard of them, which would be shocking, because they were all over the mid-aughts, now the 10s and 20s.
God, they're all over the damn place. So brief, full history, right?
Just a brief history, like.
Okay.
I don't know how you'd want to phrase it.
Yeah, I can go. I'm like trying to like break it down because there's Gorillaz history that's like pre-bands, but it's like the lore of the bands and how they formed and stuff. But
I guess more of like who's the brainchild and like who are the members and
so Murdoch is the total prick, but he is also like the money-making brains and operations of the Gorillaz. And this is strictly from the cartoon perspective. I'll talk about the actual artists in a bit. But Murdoch was kind of like the brains, and he's the one that wrangled everyone and he kidnapped everyone, and forced them to be in a band together.
And which one is that?
Murdoch is the green one. He made a deal with the devil. That's why he's green. And then 2D, he's the one with the blue hair, lead singer. He is the musical genius. of Gorillaz. He's the one that writes all the lyrics, the music. Um, oh, and Murdoch is the bassist. Noodle, she was shipped to the band in a FedEx box. I kid you not. She was delivered in a FedEx box. It's canon, and it later eventually gets revealed that she, crap, I can't remember the bit. She basically like had to fight back assassins or something. It's been a while since I've dug into that lore. It's a little weird.
Where does the lore come from? Do you read it, or is it like through the music videos? It like tells you this.
There's a couple of sources. You read it. There's music videos. They even have an Instagram. So they the main phase 1, which is their Gorillaz self-titled phase 1, is they used I think it's Rise of the Ogre is the book that they have a lot of the lore described for the band in. And then phase 2, I think it was primarily music videos. And I think like maybe blog spots or something. That was like 2000s. Or
was phase 2, was that Demon Days?
Yeah, that was okay. Demon Days. And then phase 3 was Plastic Beach. That one was also music videos, and I'm a little blurry on that one. But I know in between phase 3 and phase 4 is Humans. Mm-hmm. They were posting in 2016. They were posting Instagram posts that were kind of giving you a like, hey, here's where everyone's at in the band and what they've been doing. Like Russell, the drummer, he was captured in North Korea and held captive because of his size. Because in phase 3, he was ginormous. I don't know if y'all ever saw any of the posters in the band in Plastic Beach, but Russell was like this giant, monstrous sized thing, and you're like, well, why the hell is he that big right now? Like, what the hell? And it turns out he's swam in like radioactive waters or something like that.
Poor Russell.
It's very weird, Russell. Right? And so yeah, he was basically like a circus attraction in North Korea until he like shrank down, the radioactivity levels went down and whatever.
Whoa.
And yeah, I'm trying to make this the background, the backstory short. There's so many convoluted sides.
It's almost like it's a comic series too.
Are there any other bands that do anything like this? This is like, seems like a wholly unique approach.
I don't think so. I think the way I view Gorillaz is like, Gorillaz is what Kiss was to the people of the 80s.
I like it.
That makes sense. That. Yeah,
that makes
that's
a lot
a good.
of sense.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
Yeah,
it's like almost they're larger than life personas kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
I kind of wish Damon kept his mouth shut for like maybe a decade longer, and kept the mystery or the mystique of who the Gorillaz were. But he had his head up his ass for a while when he was younger, and just couldn't resist. And that's why the band broke up for a while, because Jamie Hewlett, the artist that drew all the Gorillaz artwork, and Damon Albarn, they were butting heads because Damon was just like, I want to let everyone know. And Jamie was like, but let's make it an art project and let no one know. And then like, see how it becomes, see where it goes.
So those are the masterminds behind Gorillaz.
Yeah,
those two. Okay.
Yep.
And who was it again? It's Jamie Hewlett.
Yep. Jamie Hewlett. And he wrote he has a whole art book. He does a lot of comics as well.
I want to say
Damon
he was the
Albarn.
artist for Tank. I think he was Tank Girl.
Tank Girl. Yep.
Okay. That's his big one, right?
Yep.
And it's Damon Albarn does all the music, correct?
Yep. And he was in Blur.
Yep. That's right. He was the lead singer for them.
For Song 2.
Yeah. And that was like height of the Britpop era. Cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah.
Damon Albarn runs that Gorrillaz ship. That blew my mind when I found that out. I was like, the guy that did the Woohoo song does Gorillaz.
Turns out he's pretty damn talented.
Wow.
I mean, there's actually some really good Blur songs. We might do a Blur song one day, but yeah, Gorillaz are dope. I'm fucking into it for sure. All right.
That's awesome. They're in the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's most successful virtual band.
I'll be damned.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
interesting.
so thanks Dylan for giving us that like brief tour on the Gorillaz. So obviously you love this song. I really like this song too. I was super happy with Song Machine. I thought it was a huge step up.
Yeah.
Levi, what'd you think, man? This is your first time hearing it.
I mean, you heard me, like, I was going nuts over that. That was fucking good, man. I like, because my general, like, I always knew of Gorillaz, and I've always I've seen the art. I've maybe not like intentionally listened to their music, but I've heard it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't very aware of it. And so jumping straight into this and hearing this song with pretty much no preconceived notions, that was a great experience. And I like I said, I got chills. I'm like, I'm gonna be throwing that in and probably diving into more of their stuff, because I really vibed with it. And I don't know why I never actually like sought them out, but
I think it might be because like their style changes every album. Like every single album is a
Interesting.
different type of music style.
Okay.
So
That's very true.
if you didn't click with Demon Days or the self-titled album, then I totally would understand like, oh, it must be just Gorillaz. They sound the same everywhere, but they don't. They're totally it's. My dad told me this, and it sticks true, or it sings true. A good band sounds different on every, like you wouldn't be able to recognize them between two songs on different albums or whatever.
Yeah.
Like they just sound like a different band.
Right. And a lot of those like bands that have these like long lasting legacies, like take the Beatles for example, they changed almost every damn record.
Mm-hmm.
So like I can definitely see that ringing very true.
Yeah, you take Day Tripper versus Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, or it's pretty different. So I mean, that's awesome. I mean, like instantly, like I already have a pick. I already have everything. Like I'm set.
You
Like
already
I'm
have your
feeling
pick?
good, man. Yeah, dude. It just
wow.
like
Okay.
like literally 60 seconds after the song, like once we kind of said a few words, I was like, oh yeah,
Okay.
got it.
I do not.
No, yeah, but anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself because we usually
it's
do
fine.
that later. But I'm very, very excited about this song. What do you think? Like, really, what about this song for you? Like, is really the most addictive?
Is that to both of us? I don't know who that was to.
Oh, sorry.
I was like, is that to me? I can tell you what.
Both of you.
Okay. I guess I'll take it. I'll go first. It's definitely the guitar work. The guitar work has such a blissful, happy feeling that it's. I feel like when I hear that with that kind of like, I guess in that kind of key, I'm like, I feel happier. Just like automatically, I feel happier, and I think.
Yeah.
I want to say Damon. Let me check. Let me make sure I'm getting my.
Oh, Damon doesn't play the guitar.
He
He
doesn't.
does play the guitar, but he doesn't play it. Like they have dedicated artists for specific pieces and stuff.
Okay. Well, whoever does the guitar, great job. Just super happy, and I love that. That's to me what sticks out. Yeah. Dylan, you can go next.
I'd say the bass line.
Yeah.
it has that mix of just kind of like it keeps the groove going along, but it it adds that again. It helps me resonate with that time in my life because that was again really rough time.
Right.
So hearing that bass line gives me chills in a positive and in a reflective sense. So that's that. It's yeah.
That's amazing because you said the guitar, you said the bass, and I'm thinking vocals.
Yeah.
So it's like three different things.
Yeah. What about the vocals? What about the vocals, Levi?
I mean, it's just the softness of which they're projected, and then you have like that. Are they singing in French?
I think I know
French.
it is French. Désolé is sorry, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make sure I was right.
I had to Google it during the music video.
That's smart.
I mean, basically the lyrics to me, they feel like a nice like welcoming hug, like just like have you ever like had a really bad day and you just had someone hug you and you just kind of like lay your head on their shoulder and you're just like, it's that.
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
I like that. I like that a lot.
That's that's one of that's yeah. So Nate, any
What's
other
up?
thoughts? And you're researching away.
Yeah, I'm trying to like pin what I want.
You're setting the panic is setting in.
Right.
Like,
I'm like, oh God, what do I do? Fucking dead.
I've been there, man.
Dude, for sure. I guess, is there anything we want to talk about with the lyrics? It's in French.
Oh yeah, I basically forgot half of our show flow.
Yeah. And then she's who is this singer? This Malian singer. I think it's Fatoumata Diawara. Oh, so she sings in Bambara
Oh, okay.
as well. So it's three languages.
Oh my god!
Okay.
Wow, I did not know that.
I didn't
How
either.
ignorant I am.
At least that's what the Genius page says.
Yeah, I mean let's talk about the lyrics for a second. Is there a translation?
I'm trying to find a translation.
Oh, here it is. If you scroll to the bottom of.
I'm just Googling away. Someone pointed out on Reddit 2 years ago. Shout out to Rosewolf12. Pointing out that has anyone else realized the double meaning in Desole? And they say, I don't know if anyone else has pointed this out yet, but I'll say it anyway. Everyone is talking about how in the new Gorillaz song Desole, the word Desole translates to mean sorry, and how the song might be about Murdoch apologizing to his bandmates for his past behaviors because, he hit Tootie with the car and stuff. This could make sense given that we see in the music video for the song Murdoch is, crying and sad. And
Right. He seems down. He seems more down than he normally is.
But Desole also translates to desolate. Notes the similarities of the words, and according to the dictionary, desolate can mean solitary, lonely, having the feeling of being abandoned by friends or by hope, forlorn.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Huh.
That's good to know beforehand, especially like that.
I found, here's the English translation as well. I did find that. Also, her Fatumata's voice is super. She's so good.
Wonderful.
She compliments Damon so well in that song. I love it.
The notes that she can hit are it's amazing.
She's got a really good timbre to her voice. It just sounds so pretty.
Oh yeah.
Great. Happy with this choice. Honestly, I didn't think you were gonna go like Feel Good Inc. or like Clint Eastwood.
No.
I didn't think you were gonna do that, but I knew you were gonna pick some.
Basic.
I knew you were gonna pick something different, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, Nate let me know ahead of time. He was like, "It's probably gonna be Gorillaz," and he was right.
But it's a good song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
Freaking dope.
I am in love with this song. So yeah, I mean, it seems like the lyrics are like, since we're following this storyline, there's like, since you know what happened before and it leads up to this, is it maybe less vague, versus other songs, or do they sometimes have like their storyline going through and then also maybe hidden meanings like from a personal perspective?
I guess for me sorry, Dylan.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, on surface level, it definitely feels like it's two parties, probably not on the mend, but something happened, something's down between them, and at least on like just from first glance, the lyrics feel very like apologetic, and albeit a little bit hopeful, because if they're apologetic, there may be some sense of reconciliation. That's what I see just from quick glance, but there's probably something way deeper into it than I'm giving it credit for.
Yeah, and maybe it doesn't have to be deeper. That's pretty solid understanding.
Yeah.
Dylan, what were you gonna say?
More Gorillaz lore. Because in the album previous to this, Murdoch was in jail, and Ace from Powerpuff Girls was their bassist.
That's
because
awesome.
Jamie Hewlett and the Powerpuff Girls creators, they're best friends or something like that.
That's amazing.
Are they really?
But
that's crazy.
Yeah. So I it feels like maybe Murdoch was trying to like come make amends for all the things that he's done, i.e., kidnap Tootie 12 dozen times.
Tootie just wants to be left alone.
And he's done. Murdoch is a despicable being. But oddly enough, in the following music video, Murdoch drugs Tootie with freaking heroin or something, and he's high as shit on a motorcycle singing. The music videos, it's called Aries. That's the song.
That's a good song too. That's the one I was
a good
hoping you were
song.
gonna come with, but when I heard this one, I was like, okay, this one's good.
Yeah.
I like this one. Aries. So, check that one out next, Levi. That one's really good.
Aries, like the Greek god Aries.
Mm-hmm. No, like not the Zodiac. It's Aries, isn't it?
Yeah. Wait, I don't know how to spell anything. It's fine.
I think it's like
that helps.
What's the star and planet shit that someone's like, oh, you're that. I don't mesh well with that.
Horoscope.
That's called my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah, there you go. That. It's spelled like that, Aries. Aries. But it has Peter Hook from New Order. It's a fucking banger.
Okay.
So, recommend.
I'll listen to it.
Yeah.
So, when I watched this movie, I had a very similar emotional reaction as I did with this song. And it's that of that complicated and contradicting feeling of hope and dread kind of at the same time. People faced with an impossible situation and basically where they don't know what to do, they don't know how to proceed, and things happen to where you're like, this is either one of the greatest things to ever happen or is it bad? You don't know. But I think it ends on a pretty hopeful note. And so I'm just going to jump right into it. And my pick to pair with this song is 2016's Arrival.
There are days that define your story beyond your life. Like the day they arrived.
Signs of what might be called first contact. The objects measure at least.
I'm Colonel G.T. Weber from Army Intelligence. Pack your bags. You're at the top of everyone's list when it comes to translations. Priority 1. What do they want? Where are they from?
Huh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Have we seen this?
I have.
Oh my
With Amy
god.
Adams.
Yeah, that came out 6 years ago. That scares me.
Right. Right. Good, dude. Yes. Do you have the trailer pulled up?
I have the trailer pulled up, so let's. I just sent it.
Hell yeah.
Let's
Dude,
zero
I
out.
like this movie. I've only seen it once, and I'm very upset I've only seen it once.
Yeah, I've only seen it once too, and that's why I like we started doing the trailer thing, because it kind of refreshes my memory.
Right.
Since we don't do prep.
Yeah, we found out, Dylan, that like if we go in this blind, we feel like it yearns better conversation.
Yeah.
Basically, if you haven't seen the movie, it's about a woman, Amy Adams, is called to serve her country by means of being a translator. She doesn't know what for. She's like I think she's like a professor, like of language at a college or something. Mm-hmm. And so their government comes knocking and they're like, you need to come with us because you're like the best of the best. And then you slowly learn that, oh yeah, there's like a giant, for lack of a better word, flying saucer, mm-hmm. like just floating, you know, and she goes in and attempts to communicate with them. And, you know, there's escalating tensions. And I think this movie is a really great, it's a really great explanation for how I think humanity would react if extraterrestrial life did come to Earth. So I find it really interesting, and it's not as like guns blazing as like a lot of movies would want it to be. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more restrained. And in short, you know, I don't want to give away the ending, even though that is kind of a talking point that does fit with the rest of the song and stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think in the same way, Desole has that, like, you know, the movie opens and closes in a very similar way. And when it does, you have this very deep feeling of hope and also detriment, you know, maybe desolation, who knows? So yeah, that's why, like, it immediately came to my head that this had to be my pick for this song, because the themes are the same. Could I imagine this song in the movie? Maybe not, like, as much that, but I do think they're very much the same tone. So
no, I agree. I think they definitely follow the same idea.
Yeah.
Sense of hope while there's despair at this time, but there is hope later on or for the future.
Yeah.
I like it. That's a really good choice.
Yeah. Dylan, did you say you have seen this or you haven't?
Yeah, I saw it. I had to go on Wikipedia just to remember the ending and everything, but yeah. It's really good.
Yeah. It's she didn't win that year, right?
I don't think so.
I don't remember if it won a lot.
It deserved a lot, and that's what really turned me on
watch that
to
movie tomorrow.
Man, you know, that's one of those movies where Usually these types of movies where they're like really, really heady and, not particularly happy movies.
Right.
Lauren isn't super into that, but we watched this together. I want to say it was in 2017. And like at the end of it, I of course was like sobbing because that's what I do. And she turned to me and she was like, that was a really good fucking movie. And I was like, yeah.
Lauren
Yeah, it
thought
was.
that?
Yeah. She
Nice.
loved it.
That's a good start. I love the pick, man. I think it's great.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really much else I can say about it. Because
Without spoiling it.
I really do think if you haven't seen this movie, don't look it up. Don't read the plot ahead of time. Just go in and experience.
It's on Paramount Plus. It's on Amazon Prime Video. So there's a couple places you can stream it. It's worth it.
Bay.
We
They're not
don't condone that, but if you feel like it,
We can't
we're
stop
not.
you. If you want it, you'll probably get it.
You're on a budget.
Right.
If you're on it, which, Jesus.
Oh man, but yeah. So that's my pick.
I love it, dude.
So Nate,
yeah.
I'm curious as to what you got because you said you have a pick now.
Sure, I'll go next if that's okay, Dylan.
Yeah, I have nothing right now. I'm still
Okay. Well, like Levi said, we'll walk through it. Because I've been stumped before it happens. Okay, so where do I start? So when I just after hearing Desole and after reading the lyrics and reading them in
Nate,
English,
sorry.
what's up?
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Go for it.
God damn it.
What happened?
The virtual assistant woman started talking to me. Sorry. Apparently I said something that sounded like her name.
No, not Alexa.
Just before we moved on, I realized I didn't talk about the music of the movie, so I was like, pause real quick.
Did you want to stop?
Because I think that's... Huh?
Do you want to talk about the music of the movie?
Yeah. I just wanted to give a special shout out to that because the composer, I think this is how you say his name, Johan Johansson, was an excellent composer who passed away a couple years ago, but he was like banger after banger after banger, and this movie is no exception. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. He did the music for Mandy too. That was his last project. So Mandy,
good movie, Dylan. If you haven't seen it, it's really good.
Even just if anything, listen to the soundtrack because the soundtrack is just
Mandy is really good,
incredible,
and it's got Nicolas Cage, and he's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's all you need.
Nate, I apologize.
No, you're good, man. So yeah, when I think of Desole or just like listening to Desole just now, and reading the lyrics, especially in English, it is like it's very apologetic or like it seems like in the now, it's like so. With Desole and how I relate to it, or not with, hold on, I'm struggling with words. So to me, Desole, like lyrically and what's happening in the now is kind of not depressing, but it's not as, not as exciting. No, it's not as good as it can be. But with the way the music goes, and like kind of Levi, how you said during your pick, is it kind of ends on a happier note. And it's like so the climate of the song is good. We're just in the storm, like in a little bit of a storm right now. So it's just a bad moment or multiple bad moments. But there's still a sense of happiness and maybe hopefulness throughout the song. So, one movie that came to mind is about a family in the now going through some kind of rough times, but there is still a sense of hopefulness throughout the whole movie, and it ends on a pretty upbeat note. Upbeat enough. This movie I chose came out in 2006. It's a black comedy, and the movie I chose was Little Miss Sunshine.
Olive, dinner in 10 minutes. Dwayne, can you check on Frank? Tell him it's dinner time.
Why, you don't talk anymore? You can talk, you just choose not to. Is that Nietzsche? You don't speak because of Friedrich Nietzsche.
Man, yeah, I like legitimately watched this last week for the first time.
For the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
great.
Oh my god.
I was
What did
so
you think?
blown away. So
Isn't
we'll
it-
talk more about
Okay.
that after we've had the refresher.
Oh
But
my god.
yeah, absolutely wonderful movie.
Dude. Oh my god. Brilliant movie. Okay, so before we start talking about it, for those who hadn't seen or who have not seen Little Miss Sunshine, it's a black comedy with a great cast. It's Greg Kinnear, Steve Carell, Toni Collette, Alan Arkin, Paul Dano, Abigail Breslin. Which I think that was her first picture. Was that her first movie ever? I can't
She's
remember.
quite young, so I
It was one of her firsts, I know. Around that time.
It was one of her first, but it was one of her first as like kind of like the main star. I mean, she was in. I forgot she was in Signs, which is a pretty decent role, but obviously the bigger roles were Mel Gibson, Joaquin Phoenix. But alas, so you have this really great cast of these six actors, and so the story is Olive gets into this pageant called Little Miss Sunshine. And it's all across the country. I think it's over in California. Mm-hmm. And I want to say they live Arizona, which I mean
Looks
that's
like
not cross
Arizona.
country. I'm just pulling it up. Okay, so they are living in Albuquerque actually. So they live in New Mexico, and Olive gets invited to be a part of the Little Miss Sunshine pageant. So this dysfunctional family has to take this Volkswagen bus all the way to California to go to this pageant, and all these hijinks happen, and the movie just has so much heart, and it's so witty, and it's so funny and depressing at the same time, but ends on a hopeful note, and I think it's worth a shot or worth a look. Even after all these years, I think it's really charming, and I think there's a lot of heart in that movie. So,
and it has those underlying, issues like, Steve Carell's character before the movie started, like right before attempted suicide,
right.
And there's that underlying theme of desolation, and
right.
And that's how the whole movie is set up. He attempted suicide, and so he's basically forced to live with his family, so he's under watch. And
I mean, Alan Arkin is, I want to say that's Greg Kinnear's dad, got kicked out of a retirement home for drugs.
Right.
Like, so
yeah, isn't it like meth or something?
I think he snorted heroin. I think he snorts heroin, yeah. And so it's just these, and Paul Dano's character doesn't speak. He's going to vow of silence because he's like a huge Nietzsche fan. But he wants to be a fighter pilot. It's this crazy cast of characters. But what I really think, or why I think the song kind of works with this movie, or why they're almost mirrors, is like the hijinks they get through, and kind of the stories that happen to these characters prior to the movie, kind of has that damper, kind of depressing feeling. Not necessarily apologetic like it is in the lyrics, but the lyrics are more downtrodden. They're more on a down note compared to the song itself and the way the song is structured. Mm-hmm. But I think the way the song is structured mirrors just that journey they go through, because they get closer as a family. You know, at the very end of the pageant, when Olive's getting made fun of, you know, her whole family gets up there and dances with her and, like, you know, shows that everyone that, hey, you know, we're a wild, weird, crazy family, but we're a family and we're going to stick by each other. And it ends on that kind of hopeful note. So I think that's why it fits really well. Also, the way the guitars the way the guitars are just reminds me of driving in a car. It reminds me of like kind of a road trip, kind of like what they do in the music video where they're riding on the boat through the valleys and stuff. God, I love this movie.
Talk about another ending where I was sobbing. Like when they should we talk spoilers? I don't know if we've ever really addressed that.
I feel like there's like a rule. It's like 20 years past.
It's like it's safe to kind of mention.
Well, this
movie, I mean, this movie is kind of not really about what happens. It's about the journey type thing. So at the end, when they're on the stage, and they're all dancing, I was just like,
it
was so sweet.
It's very sweet. Mm-hmm. It's very loving, and it shows that like they are dysfunctional and they are weird, but
it's grounded.
Like, they're gonna stick by each other too. Ugh,
it's like anyone like anyone is weird, but like who cares? Kind of
right.
That's the journey.
Embrace it. Embrace how you are, which is like kind of what they teach Olive at the end too. Especially her grandfather, Alan Arkin. His character is the most foul-mouthed old man I think I've ever seen in a movie. But the way he treats Olive, which is Abigail Breslin's character, is just so genuine and so sweet, and he is so good to her.
And it felt very real.
It did.
Yeah.
That's just why I think this song fits with this movie, and I could see it being on like one of those, like at least the guitar part, maybe not the vocals so much, but I could see that guitar riff being played when they're driving, you know, through kind of the desert and the mountainous, rocky area.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. You saw it for your first time last week. That's crazy.
Yeah. I was very happy with it. I could totally see that song in the movie. My parents
owned that movie like from the get-go, like when it came out.
Oh, nice.
And so I saw it like a couple years after it came out, and I was shook how good it was.
I didn't realize it came out so long ago. I thought this was like a little later.
Like the crazy thing is like this was like at the height of The Office too.
Yeah.
Like The Office had really just kind of gotten off.
I think it was like 2006.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And I think Office started, 05, 04?
Yeah, it was very early on in The Office. Like this is probably Steve Carell looked like it's around the same time as 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Right. But this shows that like he's more than just the funny dumb guy.
Yeah.
Like his character is super nuanced in this movie, and I think this is like the first instance, at least for myself. That's why it like kind of shook me as a kid, because I was a fan of The Office, obviously.
Yeah.
That this dude was playing like this depressed, down man who's just like heartbroken.
Yeah. And it doesn't make fun of that.
No.
It's very respectful in the way it treats his character, and you know, like
you feel for his character. You feel for him.
Yeah, and it you know, there are funny things that happen surrounding serious things throughout the whole movie, but never once does it point fun at anything. It's just 100% like, it's just more like, oh yeah, this like really awkward thing happened after this very detrimental moment, or so on and so forth. Right. Yeah, great pick, man. I can't say enough good things.
Also, another good movie y'all should check out. Fantastic movie. So just like Arrival, also fantastic.
Yeah, this one is currently, I believe we watched it on Hulu. It's either Hulu or HBO Max. Let me double check.
When did
Hulu.
you first watch this movie, Dylan? When this movie first come onto your radar?
Hang on, sorry, I was doing my. I picked my movie.
Nice, yes, let's go.
So, and you guys will like it.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck, when did I see it? It was like one of those things where like I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies until like I was 17 because my mom, she's not crazy, she's great, but she's
hi,
very
Lisa.
protective.
If you listen to this, Lisa, hi. His mom is really sweet, Levi. She's really
But
nice.
they would watch movies in the living room, and I'd like kind of be there passively watching it in and out.
Right.
So I watched it. I didn't like watch it,
Focus.
but I was just kind of like, it was kind of like one of those things like, you sneak behind so you can watch the horror movie so your parents don't know that you're watching the horror movie kind of deal.
Right.
Same thing with that. But yeah, I distinctly remember. Are we doing spoilers? Because there's one bit that just
go for it.
Say it.
It's
just
it's
we'll put a spoiler alert.
Yeah. Him passing and just
the great Alan
the way
Arkin.
that he did pass. It was just like, I mean, of course, sad, but also like it was a comedic way of doing it.
They handled death really well in that movie.
Yeah.
Like with such grace. I agree. And I cried, man. I cried when he passed because it's like, it's so stark. It just happens. Like, they don't dwell on it super off or super hard.
Yeah, they had to like keep moving. So it was like, it was like a perfect analogy for life. It's like, hey, shit's going to hit you.
Yeah.
But you got to just roll with it and accept that bad things are going to happen.
Agreed. The sun will come up tomorrow. Time waits for no man. I agree. Great.
That ties into the song too. Like that's a perfect. Oh man, yeah.
Yep.
Well, all right, Dylan. You said you got your pick. What you got for us?
The Shining.
I don't suppose they told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had up here during the winter of 1970? I heard a man named Charles Grady is the winter caretaker. From what I've been told, I mean, he seemed like a completely normal individual.
When Levi, when you said like the driving in the mountains and stuff, I was just like, you know what? That reminds me of a trailer.
Yeah.
What?
So.
Oh shit. Okay, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun to talk about.
That movie's still fucking creepy, man. Like,
I love it. That movie is so good. This is a good triple feature, just off the top of the bat. This is a great triple feature. You have your serious, heady movie. You have kind of an uplifting, dark comedy. And then you have, like, a quintessential horror.
Yeah.
Like, so good. Oh, my God. All right, Dylan. Why? Why The Shining? Oh, my God. Sorry, there's, like, so many parallels. I'm like, why didn't I think of this? This is so good.
It definitely, I mean, the one big thing was that opening part of the trailer where, the car's driving, like, just without even thinking about the plot, it talks, without even thinking about the plot, it just fit, just the opening
fits
of the
with
song
that driving.
versus the opening of the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the whole driving motif.
But
it's definitely a driving song for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. But the primary defense for it is, we discussed it earlier. The whole Desole doesn't just mean sorry; it probably means desolate.
Yes.
And The Shining is literally just isolation.
It's the most desolate. Oh my God.
Yep. So it just kind of fit. I don't know how else to kind of like describe it. It's just like, you're isolated. It's desolate up in the mountains. It's far
going
removed
insane.
From everyone, going insane. Yep.
No, there's a really good parallel here. So you can argue that the lyrics are super like they're downtrodden, right? They're super. They're gonna be a down note, which is like how the movie progresses. But with the making of the movie, Stanley Kubrick told the child actor that he didn't tell the child actor that this was a horror movie. So this kid's doing these scenes, acting, not knowing what he's in. So you could argue that the music is so happy because it's seen through the eyes of this child actor. But when you look deeper into the lyrics, that this is a downtrodden, depressing, dark, sinister movie.
Yep.
But through the eyes of this kid, through the eyes of this child, it's this happy, hopeful. Hey, as a child, like everything's like kind of like exciting. Like, we get this whole hotel to ourselves. Yeah. This is oh my God.
And it's like in the music video, you got the colorful artwork contrasted with this bleak grayness with these monsters in the background and the sky.
Yeah.
It like kind of matches the same thing where it's like you got the colorful child's perspective mixed with the true bleakness of that movie.
Brilliant. I can't even I'm shook right now.
All right, where's my microphone? I gotta drop it real quick.
Yeah, right.
It's just this. The Shining is just like, it's one of those movies that's like talked about all the time. But there's a reason it's talked about all the frickin' time. It's like, I think The Shining is timeless. I think there's a really big argument for there because people are still talking about it to this day. I think in regards to Gorillaz tracks, it's at least from what I know, Dylan, you know way more than me. I think Desole is going to be up there with one of those tracks that I think will be timeless and I think will age even better as we progress through time. So there's another parallel right there. Like,
it's kind of like if you listen to this song and you're not into it, like I won't get it. The same way with The Shining. Like if you think The Shining is a piece of shit or something, like I just won't get it. Like I can't comprehend that,
When you said that first thing I thought of was like, this fucking kid didn't know he was in a horror movie. Kubrick never told him. So there, oh my God. It's an absolute brilliant pick, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah, Nate, like you're the Stephen King super fan too, so
anything Stephen King's just gonna like win my heart.
Have you read the book?
Yes, I have.
Okay, so I know some people like really hate the movie because it's not like the book. Like it seems like you can separate it pretty.
I mean, like it's very famous that Stephen King has come out and said he has not liked the Kubrick version. There's a big reason is like I think Stephen King was having a really huge alcohol addiction issue during this time, and he sees Jack Torrance in himself as a man who's struggling with demons. So he sees himself in that character when the Jack Torrance in the movie The Shining is just Nicholson going fucking crazy. So I think Stephen King saw that as kind of like disrespectful to himself.
He was so close with the material that he.
Yeah.
But
I think it's very selfish if you don't give the movie a chance because the movie is like, it's so good. It's just so well made. Just the way it's edited, the way it's shot, just Duvall and Nicholson are just, they play off each other so well. Duvall buys into Nicholson's just crazy as he's progressing through, these days in the Overlook. It's one of those movies that I was so shocked when I saw it. It's one of those movies I saw a little later than I probably should have. But I was so shocked. Like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I was so taken aback at just how meticulously crafted it is. And, like, I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I love his work. And albeit it's not the same, but I think The Shining stands on its own as a movie as well. And I think, Dylan, that's a great pick to go. I think it's a great pick to go with this song, man. Sorry about my Stephen King rant.
No, that was great.
It's good.
It just reminded me that I'm pretty sure Duvall got a Razzie for that movie.
She did.
Right.
Which
See, that's why all that kind of stuff is bullshit, man.
Yeah.
I
hate that shit.
Yeah, I think she did. I want to say she did. Yeah, she got worst actress and Kubrick got worst director at the Razzies.
Yeah. Like,
I don't know. But like
talk about reappraisal later. Now it's considered one of the great classic horror movies.
It's broken down in like film school. It's like one of those talked about movies that's just broken down to the most minute detail.
Makes you wonder what's gonna be the next thing like that.
Yeah, if you haven't seen The Shining, go see it.
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Turn this podcast off. Go watch it.
That was a blind spot for me for a long time, though. I'll admit that. The Shining.
Was it because of like, oh, The Shining's like the greatest movie ever? Was it because of like that?
No, I think it's more so. I traditionally have never been super into horror. Mm-hmm. Like growing up, I was freaking scared of everything, like even stuff that's not supposed to be horror. Like I could barely handle like Jack Nicholson in the 89 Batman movie because it just terrified me so much.
Right.
And so like horror, especially, I like just stayed far away from because I just couldn't handle it. I would, if I watched it, I have nightmares or so on and so forth. So I just never did until a couple years ago. I was like, I gotta watch this, like, even though I don't like this kind of stuff. And then when I watched it, that's kind of what got me on a kickoff of like, it's like, oh, okay, like I do like some horror. It's just finding what works for me. Could I have handled it when I was a kid? No, but I can now for the most part. I might have closed my eyes during the naked old lady scene.
Oh, she's like
just because that was just like,
oh, that was grotesque.
Not
yeah.
Everything in that movie is just like it's not a jump scare. It's just like disturbing.
Slow burn. Yeah, Dylan, what's your? I mean, like, what do you think of this movie? We've gushed about it. This is your pick.
It's a good movie. Don't get me wrong, but I have a very bad memory associated with it because that movie was the turning point that basically caused me to drop film as my major in college. Because I had this professor, and she dressed like fucking Miss Frizzle from Magic School Bus.
What professor would that have been? He went to UNT his first 2 years, Levi.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm trying to think of what professor that would have been.
She was so eclectic. It was fucking annoying. But we watched the movie, and then like, the structure of the class was you watch the movie and then you have a discussion right after, right?
Right.
So we're having a discussion, and then she's asking like what red rum means, right? She's asked to the class in general, and I was like, okay, well, this is a film class, like it's all interpretive and how you interpret the movie,
right?
Like, everyone interprets it differently. Right. So I had said like, oh, red rum is like, it's like, because beyond the obvious of it's murder backwards,
right?
Because that's just obvious, right?
Spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. Yeah, murder is red rum backwards. I was like, okay, well, red rum, he was getting like kind of this bloodlust, like he was getting inebriated, drunk off the killing, right. Like he was going insane. That red rum, something about like being inebriated and like out of control because of the alcohol of red rum or whatever. I don't remember the whole specific of it, but that was the bit I kind of said. And she looks at me in class, and this is in the big hall of like 100-something students, and she stands in front of me. I'm in the front row, and she's like, say red rum, say it again, say it again, say it again. And she made me say it like 20 times in front of the whole class. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you making like, what? There's something she's trying, like, I was getting very uncomfortable. And then she was just like, okay, say it one more time. And I said red rum, and she's like, okay. now what does red rum backwards? And I said murder. And she's like, there you go. It's murder, everyone. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
what a bitch.
Then why would she ask that question?
Yeah, no discussion whatsoever about someone else's point of view. It was just her point of view was the right answer. And if you didn't have that, that's what pissed me off. And that's why I switched to computer science.
Honestly, that would probably drive me nuts too, dude. I don't blame you.
And of course it's murder backwards. Like, that's the obvious. Who's going to have a discussion about that? It's there.
And
this professor was terrible.
The point you just brought up, like during your anecdote, that's an interesting point. Why wouldn't she build off of that?
Yeah.
Because then you could go back to Stephen King with his alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is he drunk off, literally drunk, there's so much you could have done with that. That's, shame on that professor for not opening that discourse.
Yeah.
You know what? Computer science isn't a bad career to be in. So,
nope.
I think you won in the long run.
No. Yeah. But shame on that professor for not not necessarily entertaining, but like, if I was a professor and someone came up to me with that, I would be like, okay, cool. Let's build off this. Like, this sounds interesting.
Right. Right.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
But
big bummer.
I mean,
so that's my memory associated with.
Yeah, that's still a good movie though. Yeah.
Great movie.
Levi, what more do we need to cover? I think that's.
I really don't know if there's anything. We've gushed about this movie for quite a while. I feel pretty good about it.
I feel good about all our picks. I think all our picks are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess is there anything you want to plug or anything? Like, do you have things that you'd like to plug, talk about?
Yeah. This is your time.
On your mind.
Anything you want to talk about?
Shit, I don't know.
Yeah, we put you on the
spot. Don't forget to get tested. No.
Should I test?
No, I mean nothing. No particular business ventures or anything that I would plug or anything. Just mental health shit. Figure out your stuff.
Yeah.
Don't feel shame for feeling bad.
It's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Amen to that. Yep. I think we all can. It's important to take care of yourself.
For sure.
Yeah.
Do you have an online presence at all? Anything that you'd like to share with that? No worries if not. I just like to give the option.
But I got a TikTok with my dog that's just a bunch of cute random TikToks.
And your dog is cute. His dog is really cute.
I'm down for dog TikToks. So
my user is at D Schroeder 31. It's DSCHRODER 31.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, it's been great having you on. I really hope you come on again because this was a great discussion. Love the song.
Yeah, great choice.
I love all the picks.
Thank you.
So it's rare that we get like all, if we have 3 picks, I've seen all of them. It's very rare for that to happen, I feel like.
Yeah. That is rare.
That's pretty cool.
That's exciting. This is a first. Also, this was our first. Was this our first song? Was this our first song in a different language?
Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think Flower of Sex was 100% English.
Oh, it wasn't? Oh.
It was. I think it was.
Well, this was... Yeah, I think this was our first song not in English. But yeah, Dylan, you are welcome back if you want to come back on and come chat with us because this was a ton of fun. I hope you had fun as well.
Yeah, I had a great time talking about. I'm glad I got to flex my knowledge on Gorrillaz and talk for a good 45 minutes on that.
Dude, I knew you'd come in with a good song, and I'm very happy. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter at Sound Crusaders, and also follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Soundscape Crusaders. Until next time. Here's to 5 miserable months on the wagon and all the irreparable harm it has caused me.